Colton, can you hear me? Let's see. I just sent him the invite, so let's see if he pops on here.
Yo, it
Colton, you there?
doesn't let me do it the other way, man. Hold up one sec. I had my phone turned, ready for it.
Yeah, it won't let you do it on the mobile yet. They're coming out with that, though.
I do it on mobile all the time, dude. You just must have the crappy version.
Oh, I must have. I need to update.
They give you the lame version. They're like, oh, dude. Hold on one sec. Let me just fix this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was unprepared for the stage change.
That's all right. Looks like you guys are doing some construction down there, or unfinished.
Unfinished. I just have like my studio set up down here.
Yeah.
So let me tighten this. Cool, dude. Let's do this. Let's rock and let's roll.
Yeah, man. Let's spread the wealth.
Okay, so you got some questions for me. Your people here on there, whether live or recorded. What's up? What's up?
What up, people?
Charles, Mimi Jiang, James. What's up?
So guys, yeah, so we got just to update my friends a little bit on who I'm talking to. You know, not just another white person in a blue blazer. So Colton Lindsey is he's a big realtor out in Utah. What specific area in Utah, Colton?
I'm just north of Salt Lake City. It's in pretty much the big town is Ogden, Utah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And so guys, if you've heard of him, you know, he does a lot of FSBOs, expireds and stuff like that. But he is a big time agent out there. So, and Colton was gracious enough to come on here and talk about Financial Freedom Nation, which is one of his other programs that he has to help people with their finances, educate them on something that most people, like for example me, was never educated on. You know, in all my 27 years, I guess, is when I started my entrepreneur journey. And, you know, nobody ever taught me about money. So, but.
Yeah, anyone was taught about money. For those of you guys watching live, we got David. What's up? Ronnie from the Big D with Big D.
Ronnie Phillips.
Hey, so for those of you guys watching live or recorded, put a 1 if someone taught you how to manage your cash flow or taught you about the flow of money, or put a 2 if the school system, your parents, your religion, whatever, if no one ever taught you, you just had to learn by yourself. I'd love to know the difference. So 1 if you did learn, a 2 if you didn't learn. We got Charles asked, why is the suit so plain? It's actually not so plain. It just looks plain compared to my new suit. We've got the wings on this one. It's actually got some character in 3D. It looks plain. So go ahead and share your link in the comments below, David. Let me tell you a little bit. He's going to ask me a few questions. I got to go here in a bit because I'm teaching the live session night Financial Freedom Accelerated. But one of the things that we do with Financial Freedom Accelerated coaching students is I've created a platform to actually help them start to create residual income, right? So financial freedom is where your money pays you. You wake up and it pays you no matter what you do, right? And so I want to be able to create that system for our students. So what we're doing with David here is he's going to share his affiliate link. And what that's going to get you guys is 8 videos of the Jumpstart program. You can keep them for life. Normally it's $297, but through his link you can get it for $97. And then you're going to get 30 days free of financial freedom coaching, which is Financial Freedom Accelerated coaching, which really, what are some of the things that have stuck out to you so far, David, from the program?
Yeah, so as I'm typing it in here, because I had it pulled up on my computer, but I got to type it in my phone here. Yeah, so like one of the big things, for example, in my first business, I got into a little bit of credit card debt and had to figure out how do I pay off all these, you know, high interest rate credit cards, stuff like that. For example, a lot of people have credit card debt or some type of debt, student loan debt, whatever, and it just basically the program just teaches you how to One of the biggest ahas was the snowball effect to approach. Here, I just posted the link. So yeah, y'all check it out if you're interested. But one of the biggest things for me was to attack my debt in a different way, as far as not worrying about the APR, just worry about the amount and getting that amount down. So like, for example, the first payment, I had to make all my regular payments, and then I went and attacked the 2 lowest credit cards on my list. Okay, and I've got a list of about 10 or 15 credit cards, because, sometimes that happens when you're running the business. But
when you're uneducated with finances, you make decisions like that, right? And you're not the only one, David, that's in that situation. There's a lot of viewers that follow me that are in a similar situation. One of our students already paid off 5 credit cards and a business line of credit. And so you guys some people just weren't taught that, right? So now it's like, how do you dig yourself out of that is what you're saying, right?
Exactly. Yeah. How do you attack, the debt, basically? What's the best way? Dave Ramsey talks about his way, but the best way is to obviously do it with the snowball effect, which is what I learned from you. Yeah. And also increase your income.
We take that a little bit from Dave Ramsey, but we do it with a twist because, right. They can't see this because you're over here as well, David. You're managing money into separate accounts, right?
Yes, correct. Exactly. That was the other big thing.
Where does the money come from to be able to pay that off and to pay it off in a way that still lets you grow some other ways? And David's in a really tough situation compared to most people. And if he could start and do it, really anyone can do it. And that's what I wanted to help people learn, what they were not taught in school, what they weren't taught in church, what they weren't taught by their parents. And, it's just like someone posted on here, James said, does being taught incorrectly count, right? And unfortunately, James, you're not the only one that was taught incorrectly. I was. David clearly was. A lot of our students, they were taught, and we were taught and we learned through a model that sometimes really, really hurt us, right? My problem, David, is I was middle class. And it doesn't sound that bad to be middle class, but middle class, you're taught not to go for it, not
that's right.
But at the same time, when you're uneducated in going for the risk, you end up making some mistakes that can really haunt you for a long time. And so there's a systematic way that I've learned that took me from being broke to being financially free. And so, the definition of financial freedom is your passive residual income paid for your desired lifestyle, right? So exactly. What are some questions you have for me?
Yeah, man. So I got a couple questions. I'll give you I'll throw the haymakers at you first, and then we can drop down to the less important ones, depending on what your time is. So why do you feel like being yourself is important in your content? As far as so I used to be with KW. I love Keller Williams. I'm with a different firm now, but have you had any backlash from any of your social media posts, any stuff like just being yourself, basically? That's another thing I've realized is important.
Yeah. So I mean, I get gruff all the time from people. I just don't fucking care, right?
That's right.
At the end of the day, I'm extremely clear on one thing, right? See, a lot of people, they have clarity on kind of temporal success, a temporal vision, what they want to achieve over the next 50 to 100 years. And sure. I'm more clear on what do I want to achieve over the next existence, I exist forever as far as I'm concerned. And so I'm not going to be blinded by this short-term 100-year vision, but more of an infinite vision, right? And what's ultimately that you're chasing after at the end of the day? You want to feel like you're validated. You want to feel like you're enough. You want to feel victorious. You want to feel full of passion, joy, excitement. And unfortunately, when we're not authentic with who we are, whether, it doesn't matter, if we're not authentic, we're holding ourselves in and restricting ourselves. And it's because you're afraid. That's all it is. You're afraid of something. We all have those fears. How do you get rid of them?
Yeah, exactly. They say, most people don't go for stuff because they're afraid of what other people are going to think about them. It's who gives a shit? It's like you have this one life and that's it. Go for it.
It's really a super, when I first started having this shift of mindset, it actually caused some more fear for me, because what I realized is that 7.5 billion people on the planet are operating on purely belief systems, right? So for example, money is a belief system that we operate behind, and it's not even real. Like the money's not even real. And we're doing these things based on an emotion, typically a fear, that forces us to make decisions because we're afraid, right? And if 7.5 billion people all of a sudden woke up and realized that they were just following an automated pattern, it would be a chaotic place to live.
No, I agree, man.
Look at Houston right now, right? How chaotic is it that that all of a sudden it flooded and they got no power, no internet? You know what I mean? Just like when in New Orleans 12 years ago or whatever that was. It causes chaos. Fear causes chaos. And so that's why people steer from it. They don't like chaos.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that account. Like, so for example, you've taught us about the when shit happens account. Basically, that's what I call it. But
so there's the long-term savings account, which pays for a few things. One is we want to do some epic stuff in our life. We want to go on vacations. We want to have nice vehicles. We want to have nice houses. But there's also the unexpected stuff, like, you know, the emergency room visit, the flat tire. Or recently, you know, I'm looking at some situations. We had to evacuate all of my rental properties in this specific area today because of a fire. Like the whole mountainside's on fire and houses are burning down. And I'm not quite sure what that will come from that. But there's those things are unexpected in life, right? And
exactly.
So that stuff that you're unprepared, that is not unexpected, you got to be prepared in a way to deal with it, right? The other thing is debt, right? That same account, like how can you pay that debt off moving forward? So that we teach that in our long-term savings account, or we call it the financial freedom savings account. I had a phone call real quick. And then you take a percentage of each time you get paid, put it in that account. And then when when that flat tire happens, or that radiator blows, or that you get in a wreck or whatever, you know, your daughter goes to the emergency room, you've got the money there. Even though you're not stoked, you know, to have to pay for that, it makes it a lot easier to pay for it, David, when you've got the money there versus not having it there, right? And emotionally, it plays with people's minds when that stuff happens. And so if you can eliminate that negative energy that comes from when the shit happens, you can't pretend, David, that shit's not going to happen in your life one day.
Exactly. That's right, man.
Has it already happened to some degree?
Absolutely.
Right. And it causes your heart to sink just a little bit. So if you can alleviate that energy from your heart sinking, that's what you got to be able to do. And that account particularly will help with that, will help raise that energy up.
That's it, man. No, you said it perfectly. You're right. So let's see okay, this is a good one. So what are some of the biggest mistakes you see people, like, as far as, for example, I have invested probably about, since the beginning of this year, probably about, I would say, $3,000 to $4,000 towards my education. Mm-hmm. Why do most people not invest in themselves, like less than 5%, something like that? I'd have to check the statistic again.
I think a better question is, why must people invest in themselves?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Perfect.
So, and that's one of the things we teach is the education account. So you don't spend too much on education. It's like, I see so many people buy education and shelf it. And I see a lot of people never buy education at all, right? You're in the same boat. If you buy it and don't use it, you're the same boat as never buying it, okay?
Yeah. But you're not taking action on it.
In yourself, there's an infinite return that comes from what you can go and create, right? You've got limitless ability to take the formless substance, the idea from up here, and print it off into 3 dimensions into reality, okay? However, your current structure, your current neural pathways and blueprint up in your brain are not laid out in such a way that you're going to create those things you want. If you were laid out that way, then you would have already been taking action on it. You would have already created it. The 3 most dangerous words in the English language are, I know that, right? And there's probably some of you guys watching on here, and I know 90% of people don't have a cash flow management system in place. It's just my case study. So I know most of you watching, 4 out of 5 of you guys coming on here will not have a cash flow management system in place. right? But you tend to say, I know that I need to do this or I need to do that, and you never get it into place, right? And so why is it important that you do that? Number one, it stimulates your mind. It gives you a new way to look at things. Number two is it gives you a literal path to apply something new, take action. And only when action happens does the thought become the reality.
Yeah, perfect. And so I only have 2 questions left
Cool.
because I know you got to get going. So first one is, so I know you do a ton of business on FSBOs and expireds. What
Mm-hmm.
are some of the other peers that you have as far as lead generation in your team, the world's greatest real estate?
Just kind of so you know, too, I probably don't do as many FSBOs and expires as I used to, right? My peak
Right.
year was 40 for sell by owners in 1 year, and I don't do those as much anymore. My number one business is referrals, past clients, sphere of influence. Number two is what's called people farm. That's pretty much someone that indicated to us through cold calling or a lead of some sort that said, we're thinking of doing something over the next year. So we put them into a kind of a database and incubate them. They get touched about 100 times a year through phone calls, emails, postcards, pigeon couriers, smoke signals, everything we can do to put ourselves in front of that. And then one of the third ways that we generate a lot of business is cold calls. You know, my junior agents are making cold calls consistently. That's one of the ways I built my database was cold calls. And then fourth way is through home value leads, which Leanne just kind of posted. What's your theory on buying leads? I would never buy Zillow personally.
No, me either.
With them, and I think it's a low rate of return. But I do think there comes a point in your career where you have 2 problems. Either the first problem, one of 2 problems, I should say. The first problem is you got a lot of time on your hands and no money, which you're not going to be able to afford to buy those leads, right? So get on the phones and start cold calling and cultivating those leads for follow-up in your people farm and creating those long-term leads, right? And then get in front of FSBOs and expires to create the now business. The other problem that you have is you don't have a ton of time, but you've got a lot of money. That's my problem these days is, I mean, I am limited because I restrict myself on how much input I put into my business because I have, you know, my standards. I want to spend time with my family and my health goals and my hobbies and things like that. So I only have a limited time to work. So if I have limited time to work, I have to make a choice. Am I going to input it through cold calls or am I going to leverage through getting warmer leads? And for me, I've got the money, so we generate online leads through home. What's that?
I said click that share button.
Oh, yeah, click that share button, guys. So I use Home Values, myutahhomevalues.com. It's my own website. I don't use another company like that gives me a CRM or does it for me. I work directly with my ad manager. We have a game plan behind it, and so we generate our budget has been about $2,500 a month. It will go up to $4,000 a month starting September 8th. We estimate we'll generate about 300 what are considered step 2 full leads of people that are looking for home values. And we'll probably, over the next 3 to 4 months, start averaging about 3.5 to 4.5 closed transactions per month from those leads. And that will take time to continually build up. We're averaging about 2.5 to 3 closings right now based on about 200 and something leads currently.
Nice. Awesome. That's pretty good. Good. So
the idea, for every dollar I spend on that, I make about $5.50 to $6 back.
So it
should go up to about $8. So every dollar I spend, I should get $8 back here once we make the switch.
Perfect. Couple other house cleaning things before I ask the last question. I was at a barbecue last weekend for a friend's birthday party, and he was busting my balls about going by David and not Zeke. And I know that you've butchered my name a couple times in the past. So I just wanted to say, guys, put in the comments below, should I go by David or should I just be myself and go by Zeke, what everybody knows me as?
Yeah,
and
dude, Zeke, then go by Zeke. That's what I say.
Oh, yeah, you think so?
I would, if that's what people know you as.
Yeah, he was like, who the fuck is David?
It's a pattern disrupt, right? It's so David kind of fits into the normal pattern, nothing wrong with that. But Zeke kind of stands out a little bit. So you want pattern disrupts. When we live in a world of neurolinguistics and digital linguistics, you want something that can disrupt those patterns and kind of like speed bump. So people trip over it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. It goes back to the be yourself instead of David's obviously easier it's more professional and stuff like that. So
yeah, fuck being professional, dude. That was in the 90s. We're 2017, dude. You can go into a bank now and the dude's got tattoos and a nose piercing and it's okay.
20 there you go. That's
okay.
Right. That's right. Yeah, and then also, guys, go check out the link I put in the comments. And the last question, Colton.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, what link he's talking about, it's going to take you to a financial quiz. And I think there's about, 6 or 7 questions. And then at the end, it's going to give you an opportunity to join the Jumpstart program. Normally, it's $297, but through this link, you can get it for $97. What are you going to get for $97 is a good question I would ask. What the fuck am I paying $97 for? Well, you're going to get 8 one-hour training videos that teach you the exact way I learned how to manage my cash flow that took me from being broke to financially free by the age of 31 to where right now I'm averaging $44,000 a month residual income. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get rich overnight sort of thing, and I'm not even going to teach you really how to go make money, but I'm going to teach you how to manage the money that you do make so you stop wasting it. See, money flows into you and then it flows away from you. 90% of you have no fucking clue where it's flowing away from, and unless you can make a pattern disrupt, we just talked about that with his name, right? Unless you can do that with your financial blueprint and start a new pattern, a new way of action, a new way of thinking and believing, you're going to set yourself up for massive failure down the road. And I want to help you avoid that and set yourself up for major success down the road.
Yeah, Jimmy says, how many Davids are there? Now, how many Zekes are there? Man, we're all over, baby.
See?
All over.
There's a lot of Davids, but there's only one Zeke, right?
See, there you go. I like that. I like that better, Colton. So let's see. Last question. In the age that we live in, you never know what might cause you to make it big. Okay? Is it social media, YouTube channel? How do you, whether it be a TV show, like, for example, I heard you say on one of your things you want to have a TV show one day. Social media influencer, for example, I think you have to be yourself in order for that to happen. Would you just totally be yourself, or at what point do you draw the line?
I think there's a difference between being yourself and being authentic, right? Because yourself got a bunch of credit card debt, right? So,
right.
But authentic is a little bit different. So I think you got to be authentic. And to me, authentic really comes from a deeper place that a lot of us are hiding over. I mean, it's our my opinion, it's our infinite connection to source energy. You think about this, dude. You're one of 7.5 billion people on the planet floating on a rock that just happens to be far enough away from the sun that you're not burning up, but you're not far enough away that you're freezing, and you're floating in the middle of fucking outer space, right? Like, think about that for just a second. Isn't that freaking insane when you think about it? So I look at it, there's a bigger picture and overall scheme of what's going on right here. So I look at this 150 years here on Earth is like just a millisecond, right? Like it's just a small second. And I don't want to waste it clouding myself with lies of what either other people taught me or what I think the society wants from me. But I do know that you and I and everyone that watches this live or recorded, they're chasing one thing. They're chasing excitement, enthusiasm, passion, joy, love, abundance. Though that energy of like, yeah, everything is okay. Life is awesome. I'm alive. You ever jumped out of a plane before?
I haven't, man. That's on the bucket list.
Go jump out of a plane and you'll get this feeling of alive, right? That's what people want, is they want to be alive. And instead, what people are mostly experiencing is restriction, suffocation, fear, doubt, worry, misery, anger, hate, jealousy, boredom. How many people are just bored, right? And it's like, dude, you're floating on a fucking planet in the middle of outer space and you're bored. How can you be bored, right? But it happens, and it doesn't have to, but you've got to be able to shake that up. And so I think that's most important, is that you make a decision. I had to make the decision. I choose happiness. I choose infinite power.
Love life.
I choose to love life. How often do you hear me say, I love my life? Thanks for asking. That's a choice. That's a choice. That's all. I told myself to believe that. And so I think that's what's most important, is what you tell yourself to believe. Not what other tells you, but what you tell.
Exactly, man. It's the self-talk. Yeah. Yeah, well, Colton, I appreciate it, man. It's been great. I appreciate your time.
So scroll through these comments, guys, and go share it again after the stream's over. Go click on Join for Financial Freedom Nation. You're going to get the 8 one-hour videos training, log and get that for life, plus 30 free days of Financial Freedom Accelerated Coaching, where I'm going to teach you how to train your brain to think differently about money and about life, and I'm going to teach you actionable items to start growing your financial freedom and to pay off debt and to create residual and passive income and to manage your cash flow and just win in life. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I can honestly say it's an awesome program. So go check it out, guys. Thanks,
Cool.
Colton.
Thanks. See you guys.
Bye.